Hari Bol, Hare Krishna, Om Jnanatimmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya, Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam, Sthapitam Yena Bhutale, Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guruho Shri Yutapadakamalam, Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha, Shri Rupam Sagrajatam, Sahagana Raghunathan Vidam Tam Sajivam. Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutare Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauragani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna Hare. Welcome to everybody on this fantastic Friday program. Today I'm a little indisposed. It's not but so greatly fantastic for me because I got a slip disc and I'm actually addressing you from my bed. I got the permission to do so from Tirtha Tilak Prabhu. So I'm supposed to be horizontal. I'm trying to take part in your program for today. So I may be off video for some time. Thank you. Hare Krishna. And please do read. One of you can read.
Text 33. There are waterfalls flowing from the hills of the forest, but sometimes water does not flow from them. So the waterfalls are not like ordinary rainfall. They are compared to great reformers who speak or do not speak as the time requires. There are two different kinds of religious preachers. One of them is called the professional preacher and the other is called the acharya. The professional preachers are like the rainfall from the sky, but the acharyas are like waterfalls. The professional traders in Bhagavatam and Ramayana will speak from the portion of the scripture that will appeal to the mundane senses of the audience. For example, the professional Bhagavatam reciter will generally speak on the subject of Rasa Leela, which appears to the layman to be something like the dealings of ordinary men and women. Thus, the professional reciters earn money from their so-called admirers. But an acharya will never speak on Rasa Leela to the general mass of people. The Rasa Leela chapters of the Bhagavatam are the most confidential part of the scriptures, and they are meant for advanced students of spiritual realization. In the Bhagavatam, there are 12 cantos, and the Rasa Leela is the 10th. So before one comes to the 10th canto, the Bhagavatam tries to convince him of the transcendental nature of the absolute truth. Unless one has grasped the spiritual status of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one is sure to accept him as an ordinary man and thereby commit offenses at his lotus feet by so many unwanted activities. The Acharya is he who knows the scriptures well and teaches his disciples in terms of the disciples' capacity to understand and advance in spiritual realization. Therefore, he sometimes speaks and sometimes does not speak. The holy messages of Godhead have to be received from the realized soul and not from the professional man. Although rainwater and the waterfalls are the same, the water from the waterfall has a different effect than ordinary rainwater. One should not accept messages from the professional men as one should not accept milk touched by the tongue of a serpent. Milk is good, but as soon as it is touched by the snake, it becomes poisonous. The Acharya, therefore, is not a mercenary ordinary supplier like the professional reciter of the scriptures. Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Thank you. Hare
Thank you.
Krishna. So beautiful, wonderful purport and verse. So Prabhupada is distinguishing a genuine acharya from anybody and everybody who speaks. It's not that anybody who can speak is going to deliver the proper content and have the proper influence. You have to make sure that a pure devotee of the Lord, who has no other material desire and who has understood in the parampara properly this message, we are able to hear from him. We should ensure that. Otherwise, what will happen is some of these professional men are very attractive speakers. They attract people on the external surface. And they even attract you physically, attract you mentally, attract you even intellectually. But spiritually, they are zero. When you speak from the scripture, you have to affect people spiritually, religiously. And for that, you really need to know scripture pretty well. But most people don't know, so you can fool them. So there are a lot of mass preachers. And people are very happy because life is being scorched by the heat of Maya. And if they get a little shower of rain, they are very happy. Oh, very nice. Thank you. It looks very wonderful. They are relieved immediately, instantly. And they have a little humor, a little change, a little something entertainment. Fine. But the waterfall is different. Waterfall comes gushing with great speed. It's not so easy to go and stand under the waterfall. You will get ripped apart. You drown. You have to be only around the waterfall. And it's such a beautiful, pleasant scene. It comes cascading down from a height. From such a height, it comes cascading down in between rocks, valleys, and a beautiful scenery. It's set so well, set along a path that has been treaded by so many for so many years. And the waterfall's path is not a new path. Rain can fall anywhere, anytime, even in the desert. It can fall anywhere, anytime. Wherever people are scorched, they will feel great about it. But waterfall, you have to go look for it. It flows in a particular way, in a particular direction, in a particular space. And for a person to be coming in the proper parampara, coming in the acharya thing, you have to go look for such a person. It's not easy for you to get willy-nilly anywhere. Right? And when you do get such a person, you will see it is very idyllic scene. It is wonderful. If you stood next to a waterfall, there's a whole ozone atmosphere created. I think you know what is ozone. Oxygen with one extra molecule of O3 is ozone. And it's a little unstable. But then because of the ozone layer, you get a very refreshing atmosphere. You get a rainbow on a waterfall. You get a lot of amazing experiences near the waterfall. Not only that, it comes with such force. It's so deep in conviction. It's coming with a force from a very big height. And there's a big acharya parampara behind. All that force comes together. Right? So waterfall is in one narrow space, a huge volume of water. And coming down at a great force. Very purifying. And hits you with a thud. There is no pussyfooting. There is no sweet talking. There is no material, coverings and all that, embellishments. Straight away hits you strong. If you've taken bath under a waterfall, it's so refreshing, so pure, so clean, filled with minerals and a lot of herbals, and you instantly feel refreshed. Instantly feel refreshed. That's the nature of a waterfall. Waterfall is straightforward. It falls down, it comes gushing down. It's a huge volume of water, makes a solid sound. And all these things you will see are special about a waterfall. So the waterfall effect is being spoken about here. Prabhupada is comparing them to the pure devotees who are very rare. Rainfall is everywhere. There's no particular place where rainfall doesn't come mostly. Rainfall is everywhere, but waterfall is particularly available in certain noted places only. You have to go in search of the waterfall. But these type of rains, they'll come everywhere. So these types of mass talkers, they like to go and talk to people. They like to get appreciated for themselves. They don't glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead so much. Even if they do, they will make sure that they get their material benefits out of it. I have seen numerous such people. Until I read Prabhupada's books, I did not know the distinct difference. Like Prabhupada is saying, Avaishnava Mukodghirnam Putam Hari Katamritam Shravanam Naiva Kartavyam Sarpo Uchishta Tatapaya. Yathapaya. Just like Paya means milk, Sarpo Uchishta means having been touched by the tongue of a snake. It's drunk that milk, you won't touch it because it'll be poisonous, although it may be milk. So in the same way, although you may be speaking the Bhagavatam, if it is coming out of the mouth of a sarpa, it's coming out of the mouth of a person who's not a devotee, who's using the Bhagavatam for his own purpose, don't listen to it. It's poisonous, even though it may be Bhagavatam. Because they will preach all sorts of things that you are God, you can become God, I am God, and whatnot. Even from the Bhagavatam, they get to speak such things. So, pure devotees, they are gushing waterfalls filled with experiences. Beautiful leelas of the Lord are enunciated by them. And listening to them, one becomes so refreshed deep inside on the platform of the soul. You become refreshed, rejuvenated, and you have a great happiness from inside streaming out through your ego, through your intellect, through your mind, through your body. You become excited and happy from deep inside out. That will be the result of listening to a person who is like a waterfall. Right? You get education, you get knowledge, you get enrichment, you get enthusiasm, you get attraction for Krishna, you become a lover of Krishna gradually. These all things will happen to you if you hear from the right person. In the Bhagavatam, this is stated. Shrunotam swakatha Krishna punya shavana kirtana hridyantasto hi avadrani vidunoti sukrit satam. This is the waterfall effect. Right? So there, I don't need to talk about it. Many people get attracted to good speakers. Speakers are so plenty now in social media. Everybody wants to talk and everybody wants to say, I have so many million followers. How do they make that much is another way. And then they want you to listen to them, and you listen to them and you said, very great, wonderful, nice point. In Bhagavatam, we should understand that we should hear and we should get to know and we should feel the effect of it. It's not that simply we listen for excitement on the mental level, intellectual level alone. When one hears Leela of Krishna from a pure devotee of the Lord, and you hear conclusions of it, you can feel deep inside that I have benefited wonderfully. That effect will be there. That's the meaning of association. I have come to know something and I have come to become excited and enthused about it. I become more inspired to render devotional service to Krishna. That will be the result, right? So Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada is a waterfall. He made himself a mobile, moving waterfall. He didn't stay in one place alone. He made himself available to the whole world through his books, through his society, through his followers, through his Harinam, and through his temples and whatnot. So he's a waterfall who became a mobile person. Even today, he's making himself available. And if you read Prabhupada's books, you'll feel that gushing effect. You'll feel that so wonderful instructions. If you chant Hare Krishna, you'll feel that even more when you read Prabhupada's books. So this is what is mentioned about Shukadeva Goswami. So there is glorification of Shukadeva Goswami in the Bhagavatam. How he came and he just, from his mouth came a waterfall of wonderful Leela on Krishna. And the questions of Parikshit Maharaj were so wonderful. So he let loose a whole waterfall from his mouth. And everybody enjoyed it. Everybody jumped into that waterfall. And even today, you can hear and jump into that puddle, into that big, not puddle, into big, deep boiling waters of the, waterfall and enjoy immensely Krishna's Leela, pastimes of the Lord. That is the main thing. Shanavatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana. Krishna Katha, when it is being heard, it's like a waterfall effect. So it is mentioned here that sometimes the water will flow and sometimes it will not flow. In the summer season, there'll be no rain, so there'll be no water flow. So the characteristic of the waterfall is sometimes it will not flow. It's not that the pure devotee of the Lord will always answer whatever you ask. Sometimes he will choose not to say something at all. By not saying also he will say. Sometimes he become reserved. That's also true. We should not think that every time at a beck and call, we will get him. Oh, we like it. Please start. And when you see that a person is not very appreciative, is disrespectful, is slowly becoming too familiar, then sometimes the waterfall will not flow, will not talk, right? And you will not get the benefit. There's a story about a wonderful sadhu. He was a sadhu in a village. Then he became a sannyasi. And he was staying a little outside. Sannyasi is several stages, technically. Kutichaka, Bahudaka, then what is that? Kutichaka, Bahudaka, Parivrajaka Paramahamsa. 4 stages. Kutichaka means he will get out of the house, no more be in the house, but he'll be in the same village taking bhiksha from door to door. Bahudaka means he'll stay a little outside the village, outside. People come to meet him there. Parivrajaka means he'll start traveling all over. Paramahamsa means he's completely pure, free, liberated. So these are different stages. So he went like a Bahudaka outside. So people went and asked him some problem, this, that, everything. They asked him questions. They waited for him. Please come and visit. They said. So he came to the village. Everybody gathered together. He assembled them. Then he said, how many of you believe in God? Raise your hands. Some of them raised, some of them did not. So he said, those people who believe, speak to the people who don't believe, and he left. He said, those people who have raised your hands and believe, speak to those people who don't believe, and he left. He said, no, don't go. He said, you have the solution here. Why don't you talk? Those people who know, talk to those who don't know. Then after a long time, they all discussed together and said, we have to get him somehow here and ask him to speak. No, he's not speaking to us. But in other places, no, he's going and speaking. He didn't want to speak here because they were very familiar with him. Right? So he said, actually, first question he asked was like, how many of you, believe in God? This he asked. And they all said, this. So they speak to each other. Then they called him the next time. He said something similar. And he got away from it. Again, he did something. And they went and said, why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to us? You're from us. You got sannyasa. Now you must enlighten us. You must help us. He told that, you see, whatever I speak to you, you are so familiar with me. You'll immediately connect me with my previous associations with you. Do not take it seriously. So I am not very happy that what I speak to you will be heard by you properly. I will call somebody else to speak to you, because then you will hear properly. And they said that, no, we want, you only to come and speak. In this way, he actually did not speak. The story goes that finally he had them call somebody else and speak. He chose not to speak. By not speaking to these people, they become very eager to hear. And in this way, their thirst increased. And finally, he came and spoke to them. So he decided not to speak, had them become very eager to hear. And then finally, he spoke. Also, in the story from Padma Purana, you'll see Dundukari and Gokarna story. Very wonderful story. There also, you'll see Gokarna is abused a lot by his brother Dundukari, so he'll go away from the house. But he's a very sattvic, nice devotee. So he roams from place to place. He becomes a great speaker of the Bhāgavata, a real waterfall. And he goes from place to place and everybody comes to hear him as he speaks the Bhāgavata. Very nicely he'll speak and people will come and hear him. In this way, he became very famous, and after a long time, he came to his own village. And his brother, who had actually abused him and even abused his own parents and everything, had become a ghost, a Brahma Rakshasa, because he had driven his father and mother away, driven the family away, had association with some prostitutes in the house, and the prostitutes killed him for some money. And he became a Brahma Rakshasa, staying in that same house, unable to go anywhere. Gokarna came and they all told him, don't go to your house, it's a haunted place. He said, no, I came, I want to stay in my house. So nobody stays there. That's okay, I'll go and stay there. No, it's haunted. That's okay. It doesn't matter to me. So they cleaned it up for the night. And he said, you sleep, please be very careful. So in the night, his cot was shaken like nothing and he thrown up and down. He got up very quietly and said, who is it? And then Dundukari started threatening him. Who do you think you are? You are that, this and all that. Then they both recognized that I am your brother. Then Gokarna said, oh, Dundukari, very sad to see you in this situation. And Dundukari spoke about all the sins he had done and what has happened to him. And he begged to Gokarna that you've always been a great person and I never realized it. But please save me from this horrible situation. So Dundukari said, Gokarna said, I don't know whether you'll be willing to, but I'm giving Bhagavatam recital, you should come and hear. It's the last thing that if earlier times Gokarna had told him, Dundukari would have listened to him. It's the right opposite. When Dundukari was told by Gokarna, that's the only way. You hear Bhagavat and you'll get out of this condition. I promise you. So Dundukari came and heard every day the Bhagavat. And Gokarna said, how will I know you're hearing me? He said, every day after you finish, I'll break a branch from that tree, that neem tree that is there in front under which you'll be speaking. I'll break a branch and you'll hear the cracking sound, you'll know I am there. Dear brother, I will follow you. I'll follow your instruction. I've never done that before. I never listened to anybody, but I'll do it this time. So for 7 days, every day, there was a cracking sound. And Gokarna knew my brother is heard. And in the night, he would come and he would meet. And they would talk. And he would go to sleep. On the 7th day, it is mentioned that Dundugari from the tree, the whole tree fell down at the end of the lecture. And a Vaikunta airship came there. And Dundugari rose from that fallen tree in four-handed form. And he paid obeisance to Gokarna and said, "Thank you so much. I'm fully purified of all my sins. I heard very carefully everything you said about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And I have this opportunity to go back to Godhead." And there were Vaikuntavasis who put him inside the airship, took him, and boom, it went off. Right in front of everybody. Many of them saw it. Many of them saw it. So some of them asked, "What happened?" He said, "That is my brother Dundukari. You said the haunted house. He has got liberated. He's gone back to Godhead." And these people said, "Gone back to Godhead? What do you mean?" They said, he heard it very carefully. He heard the Srimad Bhagavatam very, very carefully. So they asked, "What about us? Did we not hear carefully for 7 days?" And Gokarna said, "You did not hear like he heard. He heard so deeply, such a focused way. He got washed in that waterfall and that gushing waters. He jumped into it. You were all standing on the periphery and enjoying. He got into it. He fully got involved. So this is the meaning of gushing waterfall. We should hear the Bhagavat. We should hear Krishna Katha. Tivrena Bhakti Yogena Yajita Purusham Param. And definitely the effect of the waterfall will be there on us too. This, in a sense, is being mentioned here very nicely by the light of the Bhagavat. Prabhupada is mentioning it here. The beautiful effect of hearing from a devotee of the Lord, a pure devotee of the Lord. So all of you should hear Prabhupada's lectures. All the lectures are available. Every day you can put on a lecture in the morning, in the evening, when you're doing your household work. Hearing Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada is an amazing thing. He speaks so wonderfully, so purely, so appropriately, correctly. You can gather a lot of information. I can gather really a lot of information, get highly inspired. So I strongly advise that it's prabhupadvani.org. If you go there, you get more than 1,000 lectures there. You can keep recycling it. If you hear even one lecture per day, it'll take you 3 years. You can recycle it again every 3 years. You won't finish it throughout your lifetime. But I hear every day. And I am excited. I wait for the time to hear it, and I'm excited. Away from all the organizational stuff and everything, the cool hours of the morning, I hear. And when I'm traveling also, I hear. Now you have all sorts of things. You can have programs that will read Prabhupada's books for you. Of course, I strongly recommend you should personally read, because that's Prabhupada's instruction. It's a different experience to experience Prabhupada. I strongly recommend that. But you can hear Prabhupada. That's wonderful. In this way, you can get the waterfall effect. Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. Any question or comment? Sorry for my supine position. It'll be over very soon. I've got a disc problem. And I've been asked to be as horizontal as possible for as long a time as possible. I think the last few days that I'll be horizontal. I should become better. So, any question? Any comment?
Maharaj, first of all, thank you so much for, holding this session today also, in spite of, you not feeling better.
I am feeling better after the session. I am feeling better after the session. You can say I had a selfish desire. Yeah. So, any question or comment? Okay. I leave all of you to retire. Om Tat Sat. Good night. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.